This is the Angels Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Angels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Just keep winning, baby. Just keep winning. Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game. Right here live on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel and after the fact, both on the channel and wherever the heck you get the Locked On Angels audio podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, what is going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area, spent not one, not two, not three, but 4 years covering UCLA sports with the Daily Bruin, and now in year two with the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Our team is the Angels, and the Angels have won not one, not two, but three in a row, baby, and three very impressive wins. There's no other way to put it. I mean, if you would have told me that coming into this Sunday, where you've got Logan Gilbert against Kyle Hendricks, you've got Jack Kohanowitz against Jacob deGrom, and then you've got a game here where, sure, we had the advantage in terms of the starting pitcher. We did have our ace against Patrick Corbin, who was not as good as Yusei Kikuchi, but still, if you told me the Angels were going to win a baseball game and score 8 runs despite getting out hit 14-6, despite not having a single home run, when almost 50% of our runs come via the home run ball, I mean, it's a great win. It really is. It's 3 really great wins. And if you thought that we were off the hook in terms of being uncertain about what this trade deadline was going to look like for the Angels, right when we were almost all sure that it was going to be a fire sale on Thursday, well, man, oh man, we've got some confusion. We've got some debates. We've got some stuff to talk about again because we've won 3 in a row. Before we jump into everything that happened in this game, I mean, 3 hours and 20 minutes, I believe. It was almost a 3.5-hour baseball game, despite it only going 8.5 innings. We had some late game fireworks. The bench is clearing, but most importantly, the Angels have won 3 in a row. They've already won this series against Texas, and they're now just 1 win away from a sweep of the Texas Rangers right before this trade deadline. Oh my goodness. So certainly plenty to talk about. As always, shout out to everybody in here. What's going on, Larry? What's going on, Andrew? Roman, what's up? Cat Soup, what's up? 8 Aaron, what's up? Shout out to everybody. Don't know how to say that, but shout out to you. What's going on? Break Less, how you doing? Just a lot of the familiar faces. Dennis, always try to give you all shout outs. And if I don't put you up on the screen, don't think I didn't see you. Jack saying, we're buyers again, Gavin. We're buyers. I don't know about that, but we will certainly discuss it. But with all that being said, let's jump into this. And you know what we're starting? America's favorite segment, baby.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I mean, I promise that I don't always want to do the turning point to start every show, but so many games for the Angels all come down to the Angels either responding to runs by the other team with the biggest inning of the entire game for their offense or collapsing, right? It feels like when, here you go, every game's a coin flip type of ball game. It usually comes down to one huge momentum swing. And we had another one tonight. We had another one, a very eventful game. Again, it took forever tonight. Dusty's saying my voice sounds different. I don't know what's going on, guys. You tell me if my voice sounds different or if Dusty's just questioning my voice. But Angels scored 2 in the first. Then the Rangers cut the lead in half. It's 2-1 in the fourth, but the Angels immediately respond. They make it 3-1 in the fourth. Then Rangers get 1 back. It's 3-2. And then they get 2 back. They take the lead. They're up 4-3 in the top of the 6th inning. And you're like, uh-oh, are the Angels going to collapse? Are the Angels going to throw the game away like Nathan says we typically do? But instead, the answer back, Angels do it again. And they do it with a 4-run 6th inning that not only was very exciting, not only was this entire offensive performance exciting, but it really summed up a game where the Angels scored runs in a way they typically don't, right? And let's be honest, they were given a lot by the Rangers tonight. They were given a lot. I mean, again, only 6 hits, but this might be the craziest stat I've read all season. The Rangers walked 7 and then hit another 4 guys. Walk 7, hit another 4. I forget what game it was where the Angels drew like 11 walks and it was like ridiculous. But this game felt like that. 7 walks, another 4 hit by pitches, and I believe the Angels scored 5 of the 11 guys that were put on base. So certainly we were gifted runners in scoring position, gifted runners on base, and you know how much I yell and scream about how bad the Angels are with runners in scoring position, especially with less than 2 outs. But the 6th inning was the rare example of it not being less than 2 outs, a 2-out rally where the Angels just explode. They absolutely explode. And even in this inning, they got some gifts, not only by the pitchers, but by the Rangers in the field. But in case you missed it, John Gray replaces Patrick Corbin, who at this point had given up 3 runs. Now was suddenly the winning pitcher going into the 6th inning. And it starts with the Taylor Ward fly out, Joe Adell with the 1-out walk. You can never forget something like a 1-out walk here from a guy like Joe Adell to start a rally when you don't expect it. Despite a strikeout from Rengifo that makes it 2 outs, the Angels explode. They absolutely explode. Another walk. Travis d'Arnaud takes a 5-pitch walk, and then Gustavo Campero. David says, make him the governor of California. Pollo Campero is fired. Pollo El Campero chicken. You guys are making me die laughing here. Gustavo Campero, after the crazy error he made yesterday in responding with 2 hits, 2 stolen bases, another 2 RBI, or an RBI, here, a 2-bagger from Campero. Did he get a gift here in the sense that Wyatt Langford was playing shallow? It was a blooper. Langford got a good jump, made a play on the ball, did not make the play. Ball gets by him, and not only does Joe Adell score, not only does Travis d'Arnaud get to 3rd, but Campero gets to 2nd. So you get 2nd and 3rd. Then Yoan Moncada, who Matthew says he wasn't expecting to play today, and I'll be honest, I wasn't either. It seems like this guy's never healthy, but he comes in, and again, he's the reason why I say these moments are the reasons I say foolish things like, hey, if Moncada just stayed healthy at 3rd base and Christian Moore came back at 2nd, you could put Rengifo in the outfield, and the team could still be decent even if they traded Taylor Ward. These types of moments are why I say foolish things like that, because Moncada pinch hits here for Kevin Newman. You got to give Ray Montgomery his credit, right? He makes an in-game adjustment. He makes an in-game substitution, and it immediately worked out. He brings in Moncada, 2 outs, 2 runners in scoring position. And in my opinion, this is the biggest swing of the ball game, because if it's 4-4 going into the 7th, anything can happen. It's the definition of a coin flip game. But when you make it 6-4 with this swing by Moncada, and just for you to come cold off the bench, first pitch slider in the zone, and he rips it. 94 exit velo down the right field line. d'Arnaud scores. Campero scores. It's 6-4 Angels. That was the swing right there that blew it up. And then, my goodness, Zach Neto, you know he's going to come through at least once in every single game, and he does here. Again, he got a gift as well. Probably should have been a base hit. Probably should have been 1st and 2nd with 2 outs, but instead, Sam Haggerty slips. The ball gets by him, rolls all the way to the wall. Moncada looked pretty healthy running around the bases. He's able to score. Neto cruises into 2nd. So let's be honest, it was a Campero double that probably shouldn't have been, and it was a Zach Neto double that certainly shouldn't have been. But we will take it. We will take it. We will take it. We will take it. You knock John Gray out of the ball game, and suddenly a 4-3 deficit is a 4-run 6th inning, a 7-4 Angels lead going into the 7th, and then you can feel good about things, right? You can bring in a Reed Detmers, who seems to be your 7th inning guy, and he got the job done in the 7th. Connor Brogdon comes in the 8th, does give up a solo shot to Kyle Higashoka. Holy crap, I couldn't say that very well. And the Angels, that was the only run they gave up, fortunately, right? Because you have a big lead, you're able to have your bullpen that's not great, give up a run, and it doesn't really matter. And then, I mean, my goodness, Kenley Jansen, phenomenal in the 9th once again, does give up a single, but you're never feeling stressed when Kenley Jansen comes on the mound in the 9th inning, especially late. So shout out to him. Steve said it looked like a game played in a circus. Certainly when the Rangers were fielding, and let's not forget the Angels had 2 errors as well, but those 2 mistakes by the Rangers that don't count as errors, in addition to the errors they did have, in addition to the 7 walks, in addition to the 4 hit by pitches that they had in this ball game, certainly a lot of craziness. Certainly the Angels were gifted a lot in this ball game, but they came through when they needed to, right? And despite only having 6 hits and despite not having a home run, they took advantage of those gifts, and they scored 8 runs, and they pick up an 8-5 win in this one. 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position is nothing amazing, but it was good enough. And the base running was really impressive tonight. You had a stolen base by Zach Neto. Gustavo Campero gets another stolen base, and just a lot of running around the bases with all of the slipping and sliding that the Rangers were doing in the outfield. The Angels took advantage on the bases. You rarely see it, but they did it tonight. So you got to give them their credit there as well. We're going to take our break. When we come back, we're going to single out a few individual performances. We already talked about Campero a little bit, but a few other guys that deserve to be shouted out in this one. Not the best start from Kikuchi tonight, but also a bend don't break performance from him. We'll talk about that. And we'll talk about what happened at the end of the ball game. We'll talk about the sweep opportunity and that deadline that is looming. Who sees? Or we'll see what goes on there. But we will somehow do all of that after our break here on a victory edition. It feels so good to say it, guys. A victory edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. I'll be right back. Now, on this Tuesday, today's show is once again brought to you by our fantastic new sponsors, Game Day Hue. You've been seeing the Frisch Bros sporting the Game Day Hue merch during the daily show. Man, oh man, they always hit the mark. Game Day Hue makes clean, no logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, or anywhere in between. Now, like I always say, you always want to support your team as much as possible, but there's some times where maybe you don't, right? Maybe you're meeting a friend or something at a restaurant where you can wear a hat, but you don't want one with big logos on it. Maybe you're on the golf course and you want to subtly represent your team with its colors, but not the big logo, right? Game Day Hue, they are the place to get that type of merch, right? Because you can go on, whether it's the Angels or any of your other favorite teams, pro or college. You just go on, look up your team. They have the exact colors for each team. So you're not guessing, I think this red looks like Angel red. No. You're going to get the right red. You're going to get the right navy blue. Whatever team it is, you're going to get the right colors. And it's not just the hats. I love their split shade gloves made for the golf course. Again, maybe you are wearing an Angels hat, but then you want to wear some red and white golf gloves while you're on the course as well. It's the perfect gift for the fan who has everything else. So right now, you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GameDayHue.com. That's GameDayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals, so now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GameDayHue.com, code MLB15. Back here live on a victory edition, a third straight victory edition. I mean, how many times have we been able to say that? A third straight victory edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Angels 8, Rangers 5, despite just 6 hits compared to 14 for the Rangers. Now, how the heck did the Angels do that? We already talked about the gifts that they were given while they were at the plate, but we have to talk about Yusei Kikuchi, because the 14 hits for the Rangers, 10 of them come off of Yusei Kikuchi, and yet he only gives up 3 earned runs, 4 runs total. And so was it a great start from Yusei Kikuchi? Certainly not, right? He gave up 10 hits in just 5 1/3 innings. He didn't get very deep in this ball game, but he was good enough. It was a bend don't break performance from him, and it really started right away. I mean, you give up back-to-back singles to start the game, but you end up getting an out on one of them, as of all people, Taylor Ward gets an outfield assist, right? He throws out Haggerty at third. So that's a great example. In the first inning alone, you give up 2 singles, but you get out of it in just 4 hitters, right? You got some help from your fielders, but you also are good at getting out of jams. Same thing happens in the second. You give up a leadoff single, but then you get a fantastic play by Zach Neto, gets you out of the second. Third inning, you give up a 2-out single, but they're able to get out of the inning despite an error from your team, right? Fourth inning, things get interesting. 1 of 2 home runs tonight for him. He was phenomenal in this game. He was really the best player on the field, and he would be the player of the game any other time. But he gets a solo shot. But outside of that, a base hit from Josh Smith, but 3 more outs, right? So, again, Kikuchi did a solid job maneuvering around all the hits. The 5th inning was where things got a little too interesting. The hit by pitch and then the single, you get a strikeout, but anytime the first 2 guys get on, it's always going to be tough. And Adolis Garcia does get an RBI in the top of the 5th inning. 6th inning, you give up another single, you get taken out, and then Brock Burke gets put in a tough situation, immediately gives up an RBI single there, or a 2 RBI single. But still, I thought Kikuchi was good enough in this game. You're not always going to get a perfect start from him, but for him to have the 10 hits given up and for him to still keep the team in the ball game, right now, I'm a broken record. give your team as much of a possibility to stay in games or stay in as long as you can and give this team a chance to make it a coin flip game and try to win it, and they can do it, and they did it again tonight. The Angels always find a way, it seems like, if you give them an opportunity. So absolutely, Kikuchi, was he amazing? No. Was he good enough? Yes. In terms of the rest of the ball club, right, we talked about some of the clutch swings in this one, but I'm going to give you a sleeper pick for player of the game. It's not going to be Campero for me. It's not going to be Moncada for me. It's not going to be Kikuchi. It might surprise you who I go with this one.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I'm going to give it to Joe Adell. And I feel like this is, yes, his performance tonight, but also just what we've been seeing from Joe Adell in the last few games in terms of the little things, right? Does he have 2 hits tonight? Yes, which is great to see. Does he not strike out tonight? Yes, which is great to see. Does he also draw a big walk? Yes. Does he make a great play in the field? Yes. But did he also have his up and downs? Yes. Another, tough game for him at times in terms of things happening in the field, but he made a great play today. He made a great play yesterday. He also was the best leader teammate I think we've seen all year yesterday with how he supported Gustavo Campero. And so sometimes the player of the game, it's about what they did in the game, but also what they've been doing lately. And I feel like Joe Adell is a guy who, amid all the trade rumors with some other guys on the roster, right? When you talk about a Taylor Ward, his outfield mate, when you talk about, some of the other veterans on this team, McKinley Jansen, maybe a pitcher or two, Joe Adell's this weird guy who's in between, right? This guy's not 22 anymore. He's not 23-year-old. He's almost a veteran, right? And with the trade deadline coming up, some people might say he's a dark horse to be traded or something like that. Well, I think he has done everything you want to see in this last week or so with the deadline coming up. He's been very impressive, both at the plate, but also resilience. He made a bad play or two in the field, but he responded with a good play or two in the field. He robbed a home run. He made a great play tonight. He, again, was a great leader, and he's been consistent at the plate at times. So I'm very happy to see what we're seeing holistically from Joe Adell, and I feel like he deserves credit just being getting the shout out in this one. He wasn't alone. Zach Neto, again, had that RBI double. He's been up and down a little bit. Mike Trout, the usual thing. He's always going to get you at least one walk, but he also had a base hit tonight. Sean Newell, the rare game where he doesn't get a hit, but guess what? He's always productive. Even without a hit, he is productive. 2 more walks, and he had the sacrifice fly as well. The only big negative in this ball game is that Taylor Ward goes 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts in what could be the second to last game as an Angel for him when we're trying to maximize that value as much as possible. 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts is not great. Renhefo 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts when he might be a trade candidate, frustrating as well. But outside of those two, was really impressed with most of the guys on this team. Darno drawing 2 walks, Campero doing what he did. Like people are saying in here, Sean will not only drew the 2 walks, but he also hit the ball hard a couple times. So I'm satisfied with what I saw from the offense. And now the question becomes, you have 3 really impressive wins in a row. The trade deadline is less than 2 days away. What the heck are the Angels going to do? Do we let the things that happened in these last 3 games, all the positives, influence the trade deadline at all? Or do we still say we are 2 games under 500 and we need to trade people? Here's my verdict. You trade Taylor Ward and you see what you can get for Kenley. And I think that's it. I think it's pretty simple. You trade Taylor Ward just because he is way too valuable of a piece when he might not be on this team next year anyways. You trade Taylor Ward. You still do it, guys. Tonight's a great example of how you can win a ball game even when you don't have Taylor Ward performing. The guy goes 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. He commits an error, and you know he doesn't contribute anything on the bases, and you still win the ball game. Now, are you going to win every game without him? No. Because there's certainly been plenty of games that Taylor Ward has won himself. Let's be honest. He's had heroic late game swings. He's had multiple home run performances. He's had 3 RBI games, 4 RBI games. He had an 8 RBI series in New York. He had 11 RBIs in like 4 days. Am I saying Taylor Ward is chopped liver, right? Am I saying Taylor Ward should just be gotten rid of and will win every game without him? No. But the moral of the story is you got to make tough decisions. You got to do what's best for the team in the immediate, but also in the future. And I think you can cash in on Taylor Ward. Gosh darn it. Now, if you trade him and you didn't get a lot, I'd be frustrated, right? But at the end of the day, this is the time. You got to do it. Trade Taylor Ward. And Kenley, I think with like what someone mentioned in the chat with what is recently going on with bullpens, when you talk about Emmanuel Clase probably getting suspended for the Guardians, They're going to be looking for a closer. When you talk about plenty of other teams who have good bullpens but might want a veteran, right? There's teams with young bullpen arms that need a veteran or two in there. I think Kenley is going to garner a lot of trade value. Now, with him, I do think if you get rid of a Kenley, you are going to feel his absence because my, oh my, the guy is 19 for 20 in save opportunities, I believe, or 20 for 21, in save opportunities. He has a 2.93 ERA, but it would be 2.5, 2.4, 2.3 if it wasn't for one or two bad outings, right? So Kenley Jansen, he is a guy that you're only trading if you get enough value for him, because I think the hole that he leaves in your bullpen is much greater than the hole Taylor Ward leaves in your lineup, in your field, defensively, on the bases, all of that, right? So Kenley is an interesting one. I think the only change that I maybe make because of these last three games is, before these three games, I was, of course, saying trade Taylor Ward, and I was really saying, of course, trade Kenley too, if you can cash in. Now I think I've changed my tune in the sense that make sure you're getting enough for Kenley, because if it's just getting one prospect for Kenley, I think maybe you consider keeping him and, seeing if you can still stay in this wild card race. Kenley would help you with that. Taylor Ward, you can fill in that gap. Even if it's just, look at the lineup tonight, right? If it's just moving Joe Adell to the cleanup spot, moving Rengifo up to 5, having Logan O'Hoppe hitting 6th, right? Having a Jorge Soler hitting 7th, right? Something like that. Or a Moncada hitting 7th, right? A Christian Moore eventually in the lineup. I think there's a scenario where you can do that and it would be okay. Versus if you get rid of Kenley, man, oh man. I see a Kura man saying Detmers can replace Kenley. Maybe. But then who in the heck is going to pitch in innings 6 through 8 when Ray Montgomery pulls your starter after 4 and Brock Burke gives you the 5th inning, right? Who in the heck is going to pitch innings 6 through 8 if Detmers is your closer, right? So I think you keep him unless you get good value. But moral of the story is it's going to be interesting. Again, I will be live tomorrow, of course, after the ball game around 9:30 for this postcast, of course. And then I will be live with one half of the Super Halo Bros, John Frisch, and I will be live right as the trade deadline is going on, in case any Angels news breaks earlier in the day and we want to talk about it, or in case there is Angels news breaking right before the deadline. We will be live to discuss it all. But for now, have a great rest of your Tuesday night. The Angels have won 3 freaking ball games in a row. Make sure you celebrate it. And we'll be back here live tomorrow night, hopefully after win 4 in a row, hopefully after a sweep of the Texas Rangers. And who knows, maybe there'll be a trade before the deadline on Thursday. Maybe there'll be a trade tomorrow during the day. Who knows? It's starting to heat up. It's been a little quiet in the league as a whole, but there's certainly going to be stuff going on. So light that baby up. Go celebrate. If you've got a Zach Neto bobblehead like me, go say hello to it. Make sure you give it its respects. That sounded really weird, but shout out to the bobblehead. I'm still really excited about that. Have a great rest of your Tuesday night, guys. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care and go Angels.